Hello everyone, and welcome back to the Joe K. Bryant Art Studio. I'm Mrs. Talbot, and today we're going to be talking about organic shapes. Those were the shapes that had names like circles. We talked about squares, triangles, rectangles, and I'm sure you can think of some more. Today we're going to talk about organic shapes. Those are shapes that are a little trickier. They've got bumpy, wiggly edges, sometimes jagged. So today we're going to make some art using organic shapes, kind of funny, wiggly shapes. And to start off, I have a book that I would like to share with you. It's called Henri's Scissors. Henri's Scissors by Jeanette Winter. In a small weaving town in France, a young boy named Henri-Émile Benoit Matisse watched his mother paint china. He wanted to paint too. He drew pictures in the sand, and he drew pictures in his school books. When Henri was a young man, he drew pictures in his law books and on contracts, deeds, and wills. Henri was sick in bed with appendicitis one winter. His mother gave him a box of paints, and he painted until he was well. He kept on painting, forgot about law, and left his small town to be an artist in Paris. Henri painted pictures day after day and year after year. He was happy, and his paintings made people happy. But when Matisse was an old man, he fell ill. So ill he couldn't paint. So ill he couldn't sit up. So ill he could only lie in bed and sleep. His paintings floated by in his dreams. Matisse finally opened his eyes, and they were filled with sadness. Now he must remain in bed or use a wheelchair. Would he ever have the energy to paint again? When Matisse was strong enough to travel, he went to the seaside. The sea air might help him get well. Before long, he sat up. A little later, he drew. Then one day, Matisse picked up a pair of scissors and cut out shapes from painted paper. He was drawing with scissors. He says, "A pair of scissors is a wonderful instrument." Matisse cut paper all day. His assistants painted paper for him all day. He says, "My pleasure in cutting things out grows even greater. Why didn't I think of it earlier?" He says, "It seems to me that I am in a second life." Paper cutouts covered his walls. One evening, Matisse lay in bed and drew the faces of his grandchildren on the ceiling with a piece of chalk tied to a long pole. As he fell asleep, they looked down on him and saw his dreams. They saw the shapes that surrounded him in his sleep. As time went on, Matisse cut bigger and bigger shapes. They filled his seaside room with color. He says, "You see, as I am obliged to remain often in bed, I have made a little garden all around me where I can walk. There are leaves, fruits, a bird." He says, "I am deeply contented, happy." Then one night, Matisse walked out into his paper garden, and the rainbow of shapes cradled the old artist and carried him into the heavens. Are some of the stars we see at night coming to us from Henri's scissors? Perhaps. For today's project, we're going to make a Matisse-inspired cutout picture. So here's what you're going to need. 2 pieces of paper, something to color with, scissors, and glue. If all you have is liquid glue, that'll work just fine too. We're going to start out with 1 piece of paper and our crayons. We'll need that other guy later, so don't lose him. All right, take your paper and fold it in half, either direction. It's okay to ask an adult to help you. Fold it in half again. So when you open it, you have a line going down the middle and a line going across the middle horizontally this way. All right, take your scissors. Remember, your thumb goes in the little hole and your fingers go in the big hole, and your blades need to be pointing away from your body. See, my belly's right here. I've got my blades pointing away from my belly, and we'll go open, shut, open, shut. That is how I cut, cut, cut. Fingers on the bottom, thumb on top. Do not let your paper drop. Open, shut, open, shut. That is how I cut, cut, cut. So we're going to pretend like this is a little crocodile mouth, and we're going to feed our paper into it. And we're going to try our very best to cut on this line. If you need an adult to help you with this part, that's okay, but I would really like for you to practice with your scissors today. Burp, say my scissors. Excuse me. It's okay, scissors. It's eating up that paper. Cut, 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 cut. So we're gonna cut these guys on the line as well. All right, and if you need to pause the video so you have a little bit more time to cut, that's okay. Okay, now we're gonna color these guys. This is where it's kind of fun. We can just color them crazy. We want to make sure there's no big white spaces on there. I think I want a little bit of a different color on there too. Doesn't have to all be the same color. And if you need to pause the video to color your papers, that's perfectly fine. It's one of the nice things about learning from home. You can kind of go at your own pace. The colors you choose don't really matter. It's whatever's gonna make you smile, make you feel happy. I feel like one of Matisse's art assistants. They painted papers for him all day long for him to use in his cutout projects. Wouldn't it be neat to be an assistant to a famous artist? All right, now I've got 4 fabulous colored pieces of paper. Bye-bye, crayons. See you later. All right, got my scissors again, and I'm thinking of all the wiggly shapes that I saw in Henri's Scissors, the book we read earlier. Remember all those wiggly shapes that we saw? Those shapes are organic. Oh, look, there's the assistants painting the paper. They almost look like plants you would see under the ocean. There's no wrong way to cut an organic shape. Pick up one of your papers, and we're going to cut a shape that touches at least 2 sides of this piece of paper. So here's the first side. Okay, there's the second side. Wow, look at that organic shape. That's really interesting. Do you see how I kind of let my scissors go crazy? I'm going to set these over here. Let's make another one. I'm going to start on the side this time. And we'll just let our scissors go crazy. Turning, spinning. Notice how my scissors are pointing away from my body, and I'm moving the paper with my other hand. Here's another organic shape. Remember, if you need to pause to catch up, you can. Here's another one. These look like little paint blobs. And one more. I want something that's kind of round. It's gonna look like a dinosaur foot. All right. Now grab that paper that we put aside. We're gonna need our glue. How do I want to glue these on my paper? I'm gonna start with my organic shapes. Where do I want to put them? Let's see. Cool. And if you want to, I call this trash paper, but it's not really trash. If your trash papers look really neat, you can use them as well. All right, let's glue down our composition. The tricky part is you have to flip each one. Put the glue on the back and stick it. Sometimes we forget to flip over our papers to put glue. So take your time. Make sure you're putting glue on the back of the paper. Notice I didn't use all of my papers. There's not really room to. I'm just using my favorites. And there I have a wonderful Matisse-inspired collage. Thanks for watching. See you next time.